Welcome to Parental Alienation and Narcissism. This program is to provide awareness, educational topics that will help you heal and navigate through the hardships associated with narcissistic alienation. Please like and subscribe.
Welcome to Video 10. My name is J. Claude McDaniel, author and victim of alienation. I share my experiences, education, and provide valuable information that I hope will help you navigate through your plight. In this 10th episode, I take you from roles in healing to rebuilding trust and leaving the door open. For years, Alex focused on the fight, the court battles, the accusations, the missed visits, the unanswered messages, the endless effort to hold on to a relationship that seemed to be slipping away. But eventually he reached a difficult realization. Before healing could begin, he had to fully understand what had been lost. Not just time, not just opportunities, something much deeper. Trust, identity, shared memories, the very foundation of the relationship he once had with his children. For a long time, Alex told himself that his children had simply drifted away, that life had gotten busy, that adulthood had changed priorities. But deep down he knew that wasn't the whole story. His children hadn't simply grown distant. Their memories had been reshaped, their loyalties redirected, their understanding of the past altered, and perhaps most painful of all, their ability to trust had been damaged. The scars weren't his alone. His children carried them too, even if they couldn't see them, even if they didn't yet understand where those wounds came from. That realization changed how Alex viewed healing. He stopped seeing it as a process of convincing his children of the truth. Instead, he began seeing it as a process of recovery. Because parental alienation damages more than relationships. It damages trust, identity, confidence, emotional security. It turns love into confusion, memories into uncertainty, connection into suspicion. And repairing that damage requires more than explanations. It requires patience, compassion, and a commitment to truth. The first lesson Alex learned was that healing begins with acknowledgement. You cannot heal wounds you refuse to recognize. Ignoring the pain doesn't erase it. Pretending everything is fine doesn't make it disappear. Real healing begins when you face reality honestly, when you admit what happened, and when you allow yourself to grieve what was lost. That grief can be overwhelming. The lost birthdays, the missed graduations, the family traditions that never happened, the conversations that should have taken place. But grief is not weakness. It is part of healing. And before Alex could help anyone else heal, he had to begin healing himself. That realization led him to another important lesson. He had to let go of the fantasy of immediate reconciliation. For years he imagined a dramatic moment. A phone call. A tearful reunion. A sudden breakthrough where everything would finally make sense. But real healing rarely happens that way. More often, it arrives in small moments. Quiet moments. Incremental moments. A returned text. A short conversation. A willingness to listen. A single step forward. Progress is rarely dramatic, and expecting dramatic change often creates disappointment. So Alex learned to replace expectations with patience. Healing would take time, maybe years, perhaps even decades. But time did not mean hopelessness. It simply meant accepting reality. Before reaching out to his children again, Alex focused on something he had neglected for years: his own recovery. He sought therapy. He connected with support groups. He began journaling, reflecting, learning, growing. He invested in his own emotional stability, because he finally understood something powerful. A wounded parent cannot effectively help wounded children without first addressing their own wounds. Healing starts from the inside. The stronger and healthier Alex became, the more prepared he would be if opportunities for reconciliation ever appeared. And eventually, those opportunities would require something even more difficult: the courage to reach out, the willingness to reconnect without expectations, and the patience to rebuild trust one small step at a time. In the next part B of this episode, we'll explore rebuilding trust and leaving the door open. Roles in healing. Rebuilding trust and leaving the door open. After years of conflict, loss, and reflection, Alex faced one of the most difficult questions of all. How do you reconnect with children who have been taught not to trust you? There was no roadmap, no guaranteed formula, no magic words, only patience, and a willingness to begin again. Alex quickly realized that reconciliation doesn't start with dramatic conversations. It starts with small acts of courage. A card, a text message, an email, a simple reminder that says, "I'm thinking about you. I love you. I'm here." Nothing more. Nothing less. The goal wasn't to force a relationship. It was to create a safe path back if his children ever wanted to take it. That required something many targeted parents struggle with: restraint. Alex resisted the urge to explain everything, to defend himself, to revisit old arguments, to expose every lie. Instead, he focused on expressing unconditional love. Not blame, not guilt, not pressure, just love. Because healing rarely begins with explanations. It begins with safety. Sometimes his children responded. Most times they didn't. Sometimes there was anger. Most times silence. Sometimes confusion. Alex learned to accept all of it. Because healing happens at different speeds for different people. No one can be forced into recovery. No one can be forced into understanding. Each person must arrive there in their own time. Whenever opportunities for connection appeared, Alex focused on creating new memories, not reliving old battles. A cup of coffee, a walk, a shared meal, a movie, simple moments. Moments that allowed trust to develop naturally. The goal wasn't to erase the past. It was to create a future. Trust, he discovered, isn't rebuilt through words alone. It's rebuilt through consistency. Showing up, following through, being reliable, being present, over and over again. And when his children pulled away, Alex learned not to chase, not to pressure, not to demand. He respected their boundaries while keeping the door open. That balance wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Because genuine healing requires freedom, not obligation. There were also times when Alex faced another painful reality. Some children don't reconnect immediately. Some may not reconnect for years or at all. And some may never reconnect at all. Accepting that possibility was heartbreaking. But it was part of the journey. Alex learned that healing isn't measured solely by reconciliation. It's also measured by how you choose to live. He continued building a meaningful life, developing friendships, pursuing interests, finding purpose beyond the conflict. Because healing means moving forward even when answers remain uncertain. Yet despite everything, Alex never completely abandoned hope. Not a desperate hope. Not a demanding hope. A quiet hope. The understanding that many adult children eventually begin asking questions. Eventually notice contradictions. Eventually revisit the stories they were told. And sometimes years later they reach out. When that day comes, the groundwork matters. The cards. The messages. The consistency, the unconditional love. Every act becomes a seed, and seeds often take time to grow. The greatest lesson Alex learned was this: healing may not look the way you imagined. The reunion may not happen exactly as you hoped. The timeline may be different. The process may be slower. But every step toward truth, trust, and connection matters. Every act of patience matters. Every expression of unconditional love matters. Because love is never wasted, even when it seems unseen. Even when it seems unanswered. Healing after alienation requires courage. The courage to remain open despite past wounds. The courage to hope without guarantees. The courage to love without conditions. You may never recover every lost year. You may never erase every painful memory. But you can offer something powerful. A new beginning. A relationship built not on blame or guilt, but on honesty, trust, and genuine connection. And whether that healing begins today, next year, or decades from now, remember this: the seeds planted in love are never wasted. As this story continues in the next episode, we'll explore what happens when methods of alienation are executed by the narcissist. How truth is twisted and memory undermined. This ends part 10 of my narration. Part 11 will be speaking to methods of alienation. How truth is twisted and memory undermined. Thank you for reviewing my site and listening to this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It helps this valuable site to grow and spread sound educational information. Sincere thanks, J. Claude McDaniel.